From the hushed reverence of a candlelit church to the boisterous laughter around a laden table, Christmas is a symphony of traditions, woven together over centuries. But perhaps no element of this beloved holiday speaks to our shared human experience quite as potently as the feast. The Christmas meal, a centerpiece of the festivities, isn't merely about sustenance. It's a vibrant tapestry woven with threads of ancient rituals, religious observance, and cultural influences, a story waiting to be unfolded. Let's embark on a culinary journey through time, exploring the historical roots that have shaped the Christmas feast we know and love today. Long before the twinkling lights and carols of Christmas, the darkest depths of winter were marked by ancient celebrations centered around the winter solstice. These weren't just festivals, they were acts of survival, of hope. Clinging to the promise of the returning sun, imagine the Roman Saturnalia, a week-long period of revelry commencing around December 17th. Social norms were inverted, slaves feasted alongside their masters, and gifts were exchanged. A grand feast, the convivium featured roasted meats, wines, and delicacies, a symbolic abundance echoing hopes for a prosperous harvest in the coming year. Further north in pre-Christian Northern Europe, the Yule festival, also tied to the winter solstice, played a vital role. Burning a Yule log symbolized the returning sun's warmth and light, while feasts offered nourishment during the harsh winter months, often including boar meat, which was believed to represent prosperity and strength provided by Frey, the god of prosperity and abundance, given as thanks. These pagan festivals, each with their unique food traditions, demonstrated the powerful link between food and spiritual belief, paving the way for the Christmas feast to come. The burgeoning influence of Christianity significantly altered the winter solstice landscape. As Christianity spread through Europe, it adopted and adapted existing traditions, seamlessly merging pagan celebrations with the commemoration of Christ's birth. This fascinating blending of cultures played a significant role in the evolution of Christmas food. The date of December 25th, though debated by scholars as lacking explicit scriptural confirmation of Jesus' exact birth date, possibly stemmed from early Christian attempts to overlay pagan sun god festivals like Sol Invictus celebrated by Romans, creating continuity amid spiritual change. It served not as an eradication of existing celebrations, but as a subtle shift in meaning and intent. Existing winter solstice feasts were no longer solely expressions of gratitude for the returning sun or appeasement of deities, but symbols of celebration of the birth of the Messiah, of the Son of God who brings spiritual light into the world. An essential chapter leading up to the Christmas feast is, somewhat paradoxically, a period of abstinence, Advent. This period of fasting, typically lasting 4 weeks prior to December 25th, dramatically influenced the perception and significance of the Christmas meal. Think about it. After weeks of a restricted diet, largely excluding meat, dairy, and rich foods, the Christmas feast became not just a meal, but an explosion of flavors, a jubilant breaking of the fast. This made it far more special for Christians than any normal festival after a hard year of work. While the core tenets of Advent fasting remained relatively constant, interesting regional variations emerged. For example, in some parts of medieval England, plum porridge was the primary Christmas Eve meal after an afternoon of fasting. Imagine eagerly waiting for that sweet warmth after refraining from meat. Interestingly, plum didn't specifically mean prunes in Old English, but encompassed dried fruits like raisins, grapes, and plums and provided some much-appreciated sweetness while continuing abstinence from some forms of food. In other regions, fish replaced meat in keeping the spiritual intention, illustrating that while practices varied, a respect for fasting prevailed and significantly intensified the joy associated with the Christmas meal, which signified a symbolic spiritual nourishment as Christians partook after abstaining for Jesus' birth. Having set the stage, we've begun to reveal some intricacies, but there are some even more fascinating elements to explore that influenced Christmas food traditions and history. So prepare yourselves for some astonishing information. For now, we will feast on some food culture on the medieval Christmas table. A glimpse of opulence. Imagine a world bathed in the flickering glow of candlelight, the air thick with the aroma of roasting meats and exotic spices. The year is 1350. Outside, a blanket of snow covers the land, while inside, within the imposing stone walls of a medieval castle, a feast of epic proportions is about to unfold. Welcome to the medieval Christmas table, a spectacle of opulence and tradition where food was not merely sustenance but a powerful symbol of status, faith, and the cyclical return of hope amidst the dark depths of winter. This exploration unveils not just what they ate, but how and why, offering a glimpse into the vibrant tapestry of medieval life itself. Feudal society, a rigidly structured pyramid, found its most dramatic expression in the grand Christmas feasts held in castles and manors. Imagine a great hall, ablaze with torches and echoing with the boisterous chatter of lords, ladies, and their retinues. The sheer scale of these feasts was designed to impress, showcasing not only the host's wealth but also the intricate web of social obligations and hierarchies that underpinned medieval life. At the high table, the lord and his esteemed guests would feast on delicacies like roasted swan, peacock pies adorned with their vibrant feathers, and venison, while those further down the social ladder might partake of more humble fare, geese, capons, or even salted fish. The placement of guests, the quality of their food, even the type of bread they were served, spoke volumes about their social standing. The feast wasn't simply about consuming food, it was a theatrical performance, a symbolic affirmation of the existing social order. And at the center of this extravagant display, often paraded into the hall with great ceremony, was the majestic boar's head. This wasn't mere culinary eccentricity. The boar, a fierce and formidable creature, held deep symbolic meaning, representing bravery, strength, and the triumph of good over evil. Its presence on the Christmas table harkened back to pre-Christian winter solstice celebrations, where wild boar were sacrificed to pagan gods. The boar's head, often decorated with gilded apples and rosemary sprigs, was a tangible link to ancient traditions, seamlessly interwoven with Christian symbolism, a potent emblem of the merging of the old world and the new. Some recipes even suggest gilding the boar's tusks with actual gold. Imagine the sheer opulence and theatricality of that spectacle. While much of the medieval diet relied on locally sourced produce, the Christmas feast offered a tantalizing glimpse into the world beyond. The lucrative spice trade, connecting Europe with the far-flung reaches of the East, brought to medieval tables exotic delights that transformed Christmas cuisine. Spices like cinnamon, ginger, cloves, and nutmeg, prized for their warmth and aromatic properties as well as for their perceived medicinal qualities, were extravagant luxuries reserved for special occasions. They imbued festive dishes with an almost magical aura, hinting at faraway lands and contributing to the sensory richness of the Christmas feast. Imagine biting into a gingerbread cookie, the spice-infused dough a startling new sensation on medieval tongues. The very scent of these spices became synonymous with Christmas, a sensory reminder of God's abundant generosity, adding layers of significance to the festive celebration. Delving into medieval recipes offers a fascinating glimpse into the ingenuity and resourcefulness of medieval cooks. Though lacking many modern conveniences, they possessed impressive culinary skills. Roasting, often on a spit over an open fire, was the favored method for large cuts of meat, while pottages and stews, slowly simmered in vast cauldrons, provided hearty nourishment. The lack of refrigeration meant preservation was crucial. Salting, smoking, and pickling were common techniques. Even mince pies, far from the sweet treats we know today, were originally savory dishes, incorporating spiced meat, fruits, and nuts, a testament to medieval practicality and creativity. One surviving recipe for gingerbread details a complex process involving honey, spices, and even breadcrumbs, quite different from modern gingerbread. The methods may have been different, but the central desire, to mark a special occasion with delicious, abundant food, resonates through the ages. As the boisterous clamor of the medieval Christmas feast fades, we are left with a deeper appreciation of how food reflects far more than simple sustenance. From the grandeur of the hall to the symbolism of the boar's head, the Christmas feast encapsulated the essence of medieval society. Now, as we move from the Lord's great hall into the homes of the less affluent, let us examine how this influence seeped downwards, impacting ordinary households. It's time to shift our focus from manor to hearth. As the medieval world began to fade and the early modern period dawned, Christmas feasts, once grand affairs within manor halls, experienced a profound transformation. This era, spanning from the 16th to the 18th centuries, witnessed seismic shifts in religious, social, and economic landscapes, dramatically altering the way Christmas and, crucially, its associated food was celebrated. The Reformation, a powerful religious movement that swept across Europe, significantly impacted Christmas celebrations. Prior to this period, the 12 days of Christmas, known as Christmastide, were a time of elaborate feasting and merriment, much of it influenced by Catholic traditions. But as Protestantism took hold, these celebrations were often viewed as excessive and frivolous. Reformers like Martin Luther sought to emphasize the religious significance of Christ's birth rather than the festive traditions. In some regions, Puritans even attempted to abolish Christmas altogether, deeming it a pagan holiday. However, the spirit of Christmas proved resilient. While grand public displays diminished, the focus shifted toward the family and the home hearth. The festive meal, once a symbol of communal celebration, now symbolized family unity and spiritual reflection. This shift marked the beginning of the modern Christmas we recognize today. a celebration centered around the intimacy of the home. Fasting and simpler meals often replaced lavish feasts, reflecting the new emphasis on piety. In England, the tradition of the Christmas sermon gained prominence, further emphasizing the religious aspects of the season. Amid this evolving festive landscape, the goose began its ascendance as a Christmas centerpiece in certain parts of Europe. While boar's head and peacock had reigned supreme in medieval feasts, their symbolic connection to extravagant aristocratic celebrations became problematic. The goose, more accessible and affordable than these extravagant alternatives, stepped into the void. One amusing historical anecdote links the rise of goose to Queen Elizabeth I. Supposedly, she was enjoying a roasted goose for dinner when news of the Spanish Armada's defeat arrived in 1588. She declared that goose should forevermore be enjoyed on Christmas as a good luck charm. While likely apocryphal, it captures the goose's growing association with the festive season. Its fattiness was seen as particularly beneficial in warding off the cold of winter, a practical consideration that contributed to its popularity. Perhaps the most impactful change on the early modern Christmas table came from halfway across the world. The age of exploration and the discovery of the Americas introduced a wealth of new ingredients into European cuisine. Imagine a world without tomatoes, potatoes, or turkey. These New World staples gradually infiltrated European foodways, making their way into holiday celebrations. Initially viewed with suspicion, turkey, brought back by Spanish conquistadors from the Americas, began to compete with the goose for Christmas dominance, especially in England. Turkey's sheer size made it ideal for feeding larger families, while its relatively bland flavor readily absorbed a variety of spices and stuffings, lending itself well to culinary experimentation. Potatoes, originally from the Andean mountains, also gained popularity as an affordable and versatile side dish, finding their place beside other festive foods. Maize or corn brought its vibrant yellow to the table in a variety of dishes, albeit more slowly in Northern Europe. While the transformation of the Christmas dinner wasn't immediate, the inclusion of these New World foods forever altered the landscape of festive dining, planting the seeds for the modern Christmas feast we know today. These ingredients weren't merely additions. They were symbolic of a rapidly changing world, interconnected by exploration and trade, forever shaping culinary cultures and festive traditions. From manor halls to family hearths, the journey of the Christmas feast reflects the profound shifts in the early modern period. The interplay of religious reform, economic accessibility, and global exploration molded the character of Christmas celebrations, culminating in the familiar traditions that still hold us today. And from this changing landscape emerged a new era, the Victorian age, where modernity further embraced and redefined the Christmas spirit. The question then arises, how did the Victorians, basking in the Industrial Revolution, shape and refine the festivities into the familiar picture we recognize now? Picture this. London shrouded in a Dickensian fog, gaslights flickering on cobblestone streets, the air thick with the aroma of roasting chestnuts and the promise of Christmas cheer. It's the Victorian era, a time of unprecedented change, and amidst this transformation, Christmas as we know it today began to take shape. The Victorian Christmas wasn't born overnight. It evolved, influenced by social reformers, writers, and a growing middle class eager to embrace festive traditions. Perhaps no single figure played a greater role in shaping this idealized image of Christmas than Charles Dickens. His timeless novella, A Christmas Carol, published in 1843, wasn't just a ghost story, it was a social commentary, a stark portrayal of poverty alongside the warmth and generosity of the holiday spirit. The Cratchit family's humble but joyous Christmas feast, centered around a small goose, captured the public's imagination. While goose was traditionally a common Christmas bird, Dickens' depiction emphasized not just the meal itself but the spirit of sharing and abundance that should define Christmas, influencing the public's perception of the ideal Christmas meal, even shaping charitable giving practices. This idealized Christmas promoted by Dickens extended far beyond just turkey and plum pudding. It emphasized the sharing of food, the warmth of family, and an overall embracing of holiday generosity. It sparked a rediscovery of Christmas carols, ignited the custom of sending Christmas cards, and forever entwined food with the very essence of the season. However, by the end of the Victorian era, something remarkable happened. A newcomer, once an exotic import from the Americas, started gracing the Christmas table, the turkey. Larger than a goose and capable of feeding more people, its rise was facilitated by improved farming techniques and the expansion of the railroads, which made transportation faster and cheaper. The size and novelty of the turkey made it a status symbol, a visual representation of prosperity at Christmas, swiftly eclipsing other festive meats like goose, beef, and boar's head. Queen Victoria herself is documented as having enjoyed turkey for her Christmas meal, solidifying its place in the upper echelons of British society. Imagine, The very monarch enjoying a novel food, that sets quite the trend. As the turkey ascended, its association with Christmas became deeply ingrained, impacting not only culinary traditions but even reshaping agricultural practices. Now let's indulge our sweet tooth. What Victorian Christmas feast would be complete without its decadent delights? The rich, dark Christmas pudding, steamed to perfection, laden with dried fruits and spices, harken back to medieval origins, originally served as a porridge. During the Victorian period, its preparation evolved into an elaborate ritual, involving the entire family stirring the mixture while making wishes for the coming year. The addition of symbolic trinkets like coins further cemented its status as a celebratory centerpiece. Alongside it sat the mince pie, once a truly meaty dish which transitioned over the centuries towards the predominantly sweet treat we know today, featuring dried fruits, spices, and often a splash of brandy. Variations abounded. In parts of Scotland, black bun, a rich fruitcake often encased in pastry, was a preferred festive sweet. These desserts were more than just culinary delights, they were woven into the fabric of Christmas folklore and custom. But the Victorian fascination with sweets extended far beyond puddings and pies. A burgeoning confectionery industry meant access to sweets like never before. Children's stockings, once filled with practical gifts, were increasingly supplemented with candies and sugary delights. Barley sugar, bonbons, sugared almonds, and the early precursors to modern-day candies like chocolate became coveted Christmas treats, marking another evolution in how food played a pivotal role during the festivities. These elaborately decorated sweets further reflected the Victorian obsession with ornament and aesthetics, seamlessly blending the art of sweet-making with the joyous celebratory spirit. The Victorian era established Christmas as a grand affair, feast, fellowship, family. Woven together through the medium of food, this tradition continued to morph through times and influence generations to come. And to see how precisely, let's explore the world of Christmas food in the 20th century and beyond, global influences and modern trends. As the echoes of carols from the Victorian era faded, the 20th century ushered in a new era, transforming Christmas traditions, including the festive table, in ways both subtle and profound. World wars, a shrinking globe, and the rise of consumerism all played their part in shaping what we eat at Christmas. The first half of the century found families grappling with the austerities of wartime rationing. Gone were the lavish feasts of the past, replaced by resourceful adaptations and a renewed focus on simplicity. World War II particularly etched its mark on the Christmas dinner. Imagine a time when sugar, butter, meat, and even dried fruit were carefully measured and allocated. Families clutched their ration books, meticulously planning meals. Mock goose, a clever invention of the time, replaced the traditional bird, using ingredients like potatoes and lentils to create a surprisingly satisfying dish. Carrot cookies, sweetened with honey or syrup, became a wartime treat, demonstrating ingenuity born from necessity. These innovations weren't just substitutions, they were symbols of resilience, proving that Christmas spirit could thrive even in the leanest of times. Interestingly, many of these resourceful recipes remained popular even after the war, a testament to their deliciousness and practicality. With the latter half of the 20th century, as the world became more interconnected, Christmas tables began to reflect the flavors of distant lands. No longer confined to regional or national boundaries, Christmas cuisine embarked on a global journey. In Japan, a delightfully quirky tradition arose. Christmas dinner often features Kentucky Fried Chicken, thanks to a remarkably successful marketing campaign. Australians enjoying the warm summer sun frequently opt for a Christmas barbecue, exchanging roasted turkey for sizzling prawns and grilled meats. From the Lebanese practice of serving megli, a sweet rice pudding flavored with spices and nuts, to the Italian panettone gracing dessert tables worldwide, immigration and increased cultural exchange transformed Christmas food from a largely homogeneous affair into a kaleidoscope of culinary experiences. These diverse customs remind us that the heart of Christmas transcends borders, expressed through flavors and shared moments of celebration. This increasing globalization, however, came hand in hand with the rise of consumerism. The latter part of the century saw a shift towards convenience and pre-packaged foods. Supermarkets began offering ready-made Christmas dinners, complete with turkey, stuffing, and all the trimmings, eliminating hours of preparation. While undeniably convenient, this transition had its drawbacks. For many, the time-honored tradition of preparing the Christmas meal together, a ritual rich with family stories and shared laughter, became less central to the celebration. Brand names infiltrated the Christmas table, promising a shortcut to festive cheer. The personalized touch of homemade mince pies and fruitcakes began to be replaced for some with mass-produced versions. This trend reflected broader societal changes, faster-paced lives, dual-income families, and an increased emphasis on material possessions, inevitably impacting the time-honored rituals surrounding Christmas food. As we move into the 21st century, Christmas food traditions stand at yet another crossroads. Concerns over sustainability, environmental impact, and health are reshaping our choices. Vegetarian and vegan options are gaining popularity, introducing exciting new dishes and reimagining classics. Nut roasts, stuffed squash, and lentil Wellington grace the Christmas tables of those seeking plant-based alternatives. Concerns about food miles and the environmental impact of certain ingredients have led to a renewed interest in locally sourced seasonal produce. Even climate change looms large, with changing weather patterns potentially impacting the availability of traditional ingredients. For instance, warmer winters could affect cranberry harvests, and fluctuating ocean temperatures could influence fish stocks, prompting cooks to adapt and discover new holiday flavors. These evolving practices reflect a growing awareness of our global interconnectedness and a desire to celebrate in ways that are both joyful and responsible. All of these developments prompt us to consider how we can preserve the essence of tradition while adapting to the needs of a changing world, which leads perfectly to our next exploration, the enduring power of food and tradition. As the aroma of cinnamon and cloves fills the air and the warm glow of the oven reflects in expectant eyes, we find ourselves drawn to the heart of Christmas. The table laden with food, it's more than just sustenance. It's a powerful symbol, a storyteller whispering tales of generations past and present. This is the enduring power of Christmas food and tradition. It connects us, not just to our families and communities, but to a vast and fascinating history. The emotional significance of Christmas food. Consider for a moment the evocative power of a single bite. That first taste of your grandmother's gingerbread, the delicate crumble of a mince pie made just like your mother used to, or the satisfying crunch of a perfectly roasted chestnut. These aren't just flavors, they are memories imbued with emotion, powerful enough to transport us back to childhood Christmases, filled with warmth, laughter, and a sense of belonging. Food becomes a tangible link to loved ones, both present and absent, solidifying family traditions and fostering a deep sense of connection across generations. Christmas dinner in particular acts as a yearly ritual, a gathering point where families and friends reunite, sharing stories and creating new memories around a table overflowing with symbolic dishes. The very act of preparing these dishes, the stirring, the chopping, the baking, becomes a cherished part of the celebration, an act of love passed down through generations. It's a shared experience, creating a unique sense of togetherness and strengthening familial bonds. Even the simple act of sharing a plate of cookies becomes imbued with significance, a small gesture of warmth and goodwill. Food as a storyteller beyond personal nostalgia, Christmas food holds within it the fascinating echoes of history and culture. Take the humble mince pie, for instance. What appears to be a simple dessert carries within its spiced filling the whispers of medieval crusaders who returned from the Holy Land with recipes incorporating Middle Eastern fruits and spices. Its very shape, originally oblong to represent the manger, reflects the deep religious symbolism embedded within the holiday. The Christmas pudding, a rich and decadent treat, can trace its origins back to the 14th century in England, initially a porridge-like dish known as frumenty. Over centuries it evolved, gaining dried fruits, spices, and alcohol, mirroring the changing tastes and availability of ingredients through the ages. Did you know it was traditionally stirred from east to west in honor of the three wise men, and a silver sixpence was hidden inside for good luck? Even seemingly ubiquitous items like roasted turkey, a mainstay on many modern Christmas tables, have their own unique story. While it's widely believed that turkey replaced goose or boar as the Christmas centerpiece after its introduction from the Americas, this transition was a gradual one, taking centuries to truly take hold. These food traditions, carried through time, tell a vivid tale of cultural exchange, historical events, and evolving societal tastes. They're not just dishes, they're culinary artifacts offering a tangible glimpse into the past. In conclusion, the Christmas feast is far more than a simple meal. It's a powerful reminder of the enduring significance of food and tradition. It's a repository of personal memories, a symbol of family unity, and a fascinating window into the rich tapestry of history and culture. So, as you gather around the table this Christmas, savor not only the flavors but also the stories they tell. Appreciate the connections forged through generations and recognize the powerful role that food plays in shaping our understanding of Christmas and of ourselves. The traditions we cherish today are woven into the very fabric of who we are, a legacy passed down through the shared experience of a truly special meal.